Hello, I'm Noel Kingsbury, and with Annie Gelfoyle, together we run Garden Masterclass. Welcome to our YouTube channel. We put here the recordings from the session we do every Thursday evening at 6 o'clock London time, a practice we started during the April 2020 lockdown as a way of reaching out to the global garden and landscape community. We hope you enjoy this recording, but also please do check out our website for all the amazing range of information-packed webinar and workshop recordings we have. Maybe consider joining us because members get access to our vast archive of free material as well as discounts on the webinar recordings. We've also recently started a podcast channel on Substack. So we do a weekly podcast so that's a way of accessing a lot of our recorded material that you can listen to whilst you're digging or driving or watering or whatever else. So I very much hope you enjoy this recording and looking forward to keeping in contact. So good evening, everybody. It's 6 o'clock here in West European time. This is Thursday Garden Chat, the weekly public service broadcast from Garden Masterclass. Things are a bit quiet over August, but we've been very busy organising things for our winter webinar season. We've got everything pretty well organised until Christmas. Including quite a few courses, because what we discovered last year that there's a real demand for professionals for courses in construction detailing, in design, in SketchUp. So we're working with Paul Hensey, who did our really successful construction detailing course last year, on doing some courses in SketchUp. They're all on the website, and we've got an early bird booking discount, and that applies to all of our other webinars as well. So if you book now, you'll get in at a bit of a discount. So now we are off, not quite literally, but because our speaker today is actually in Italy, but she will soon be departing for home in Buenos Aires in Argentina. We don't go to South America nearly enough, I don't think. We were there the other week, of course, with Cristobal Albueta in Chile, who showed us some amazing range of plantings and the incredible potential of South American flora. So Amalia, we met, oh gosh, I think it was 2005, was it, or 2006? We met a long time ago.
A long time ago, 2007.
Yeah, 2007 was it? And we've had you on these recordings before, and I think in that initial COVID phase when we were sort of frantically grabbing everybody to record with. So perhaps as a reminder, perhaps you could say a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how you came to be so passionate about plants and gardens and flora.
Well, okay. I was born in Argentina, but actually all my profession as a landscape designer has been developed in Uruguay. I moved there in the year 2000, a year before. And well, I moved into this farm near the sea, and I already studied landscape design, but a short course in Argentina, and I was working a little bit and began to fall in love with all the flora, the native flora, the spontaneous flora that was about in the garden, in the farm. And well, without really realizing, I became a plant hunter. So I began trying to make these plants get into the commercial network, into nurseries, and use them in the gardens. So I pretty much became a researcher, and then I began teaching. So I do design, teach, and research. That's what I do. Mainly in Uruguay, very little bit in Brazil with Mariana Siqueira. And well, that's it.
Yeah, great. No, that's a great triangle, isn't it? So design, teaching, and research. I mean, sort of a perfect triangle. Yeah. So Now, this evening, we've got you on to do one of our Desert Island Gardens broadcasts. So the idea being the gardens that you would fantasize about if ever you got marooned on a desert island or in some other, horrendous situation where you're isolated and need to occupy your mind. This is modeled on a really long-running BBC radio program called Desert Island Discs, where famous people are brought on and asked to select 8 records that are their favorites, but also perhaps were important at particular times of their life. And at the end, they're asked what favorite book and what luxury they would have on the desert island. And we ask our guests to say which garden book they would like to have with them on the desert island and which tool they would find perhaps most useful in attempting to do some cultivation and grow some food on their desert island. So, Amalia, over to you for your desert island gardens.
Good. Let me look for my PowerPoint. Share. No. Stop share. Let me see. PowerPoint. Share. PowerPoint. Let's put.
Okay, we're getting there. You just need to share screen. I mean, not share screen. Go to play. And yep, we're here.
Do you see it?
Yeah.
Am I okay? Okay. Okay. Well, I chose 3 gardens. The first is Josefina Casares. This is a picture from the year 2001. A very old, very young me, a very young Martina Barcia and Josefina Casares. But for the people that don't know, these 2 young girls had just came back from Kew Gardens, taking a course with John Brooks. And they went back to Argentina to found the John Brooks School of Design. And with all this grid technique, and they were giving short courses. I took one, and then I got to know Josefina's garden. And we have, the really important thing here is to understand that we're in 2001. That is like 25 years ago, 24. And no, the other way around here. And I want to read this. This is Josefina's the way that she felt landscape, no, and how much it impacted on me. And it says, I came to garden design through a deep lap of nature and landscape, both the vast, wild, untamed expanse and its opposite, the carefully crafted park. A dialogue between contrasts, the open horizon of the pampas, riding on horseback, listening to the wind, surrendering to the weirdness of that infinite flatness, and then the return to the homestead, the tidy avenue, the hush of wind caught in the tangle of casuarinas and eucalyptus, order, the hush of doves, shelter, shade. Each avenue, a deliberate axis, at its end, a gate, and beyond it, the open countryside, endless light, motion, and wind. Within that great macrocosm lay the hidden microcosm of childhood. Pillbugs, flies, butterflies, birds upon birds, armadillos, elusive foxes, and skunks. The landscape harbors a vibrant, teeming life. A garden is a living being, a complex, captivating system. One works more with sensations than with things. A garden is cool shade and a sunlit nook in the winter. It is the sound of wind through leaves and the songs of birds. A garden is the fluttering of wings, the dance of butterflies. It is the feel of soft grass beneath bare feet. It brings closer a magical world. It offers a chance to reconnect with nature in the everyday. As my teacher John Brooks once said, to be a landscape designer is a spiritual experience, finding joy in bringing joy to others. And I really like this that she wrote, because it really shows what her connection with landscape design was, her experience riding on horseback in the countryside, the Argentina pampas. She was very much connected with nature, with birds, with little bugs, butterflies, everything. And well, she went to Buenos Aires to live in the outskirts, and bought this piece of land with her family, and decided that she wanted to have that experience in that garden. Let me see. So she decided, she just had come from Kew with all this grid and the shapes, the geometry, the angles, everything was set. And all these brown areas that you see here, all this beige, was all the area that she decided that she would allow nature to express. These are 9,000 square meters. And the goal was to recover the regional flora and fauna to enhance the feeling of countryside. She wanted to bring back all these memories. She didn't want to live in the city, so she's in this gated community, but she still wanted to capture this feeling of countryside that she was longing for. Here she is, very young, with the young children, all taking part of this process. And it's really amazing. She wanted to capture the essence of the Pampas. And it's incredible. We have to think that we are in 2001. And all this sense of leaving this appear, this goldenrod, the thistle, the pampa grasses, this is very much campo sucio, no? What it's called, which is like a dirty landscape. When the countryside is full of bad weeds, no? So actually, it was like a scandal in the gated community. It was a big scandal, and there were a lot of meetings trying to convince her to please cut everything back, because that was all like neglected. But she really went through a very good editing process, an incredible. She's so sensible with design, and she would just take away something, enhance others, add some other native plants that were not there. And eventually, this identity was really achieved, and the sense of order and not chaos, which is the more the challenge, no? Because it's not about leaving, that's something that I heard a lot, no? That, no, I left nature untouched. Nature untouched can be really horrible, so it's not that very good as a designer to do. So I think that the editing process is very important, and also what you add into the landscape. So I went into this garden, and as I had before studying landscape design, I studied ecology. So it impacted me a lot. This idea of this identity, this was the Argentinian Pampas. It was really the identity of who we are. And I was used to looking more like to other kind of books, no? European books or even American books. So this kind of garden really got into me, and really made sense. Something that not to everyone, but it did to me. And it's incredible, all these baccaris in the back here, this rounded shape of baccaris. So all these ecological succession began to take over in the place. And she said that more or less took between 4 and 6 years in order to get a balance and achieve this design, this beautiful design, these different wild plants that are there. And we go back to the plan, and we can see here is the lake. So there's this ceibo's, which is the national tree for Uruguay and of Argentina and of Uruguay. Both countries, we have the same national tree. So it was, again, a choice of bringing a very iconic plant for the local identity. And here you can see some hedges. So she really managed to have a balance between very controlled vegetation, short lawn in some areas, with this wild planting. This is the sotobosque, the underneath the trees, which is fantastic, with this native salvia guaranitica and well, other shrubs. And then the wild prairie, you know, she really got a very good balance of control with seemingly uncontrolled but controlled prairie and wild prairie look. And so here we can see Campuloclinium macrocephalum appearing, Chromolaena hirsuta, and other exotic plants as well. Well, of course, everything had a lot of fauna, supported a lot of fauna. Pacaris trimera, all different. This is evolving in time. Austrohepatorium, minurifolium, different plants that begin to appear also in time. Even with aquatics, she had a little estanque, some built pool near the house, and she began trying native plants like Pontederia here, Sagittaria montevidensis, Senecio bonariensis over here. She did an amazing work, a very pioneer work. If we really think that we're in 2001, this is really groundbreaking. I mean, I think that this garden is not being deserved the importance that it has in landscape design for Argentina. For me, it was key. Before I even started studying, I met this garden and I knew that it was what I wanted to do. And it was the seed that stayed with me until I went to Uruguay and began my own country garden. So now this is the place. You can see how everything has much been evolved from this to this. This is a polo field. And you still have like this feeling of being in the middle of the countryside, and it's very much surrounded by houses. Well, that is the first garden, and well, I really can't emphasize enough how important and how influential this garden was, and for all the generations that Josefina and Martina educated through the Pampa Infinita John Brooks School of Design. They have really changed landscape design in Argentina, and well, they have educated a whole many generations of new landscape designers. But the vision that they transmitted was very important. For me, it was key. So that is the first garden that I chose. And we will move into now to a different moment in life, in my life, which was a trip I did with Penelope Hobhouse, actually, and Anna Bayboard to Tuscany. It was a year before I started traveling with you, so it was 2007. And what really impacted me in that trip, besides all this, it was a fantastic way of learning how to manage scale and levels, because Tuscany is all up and down, and it was a fantastic teaching place. I was really much impacted by the idea of this storytelling these gardens have. They were mostly like Renaissance gardens. And well, most of these gardens, they had like a philosopher that would make like a script, and the landscape designer would develop everything, and there were ruins, and mainly they were this quest for wisdom, and you would have sometimes animals like dragons or different, and ruins of Rome and different places. And this garden, is in the border of Tuscany. It's not really in Tuscany, but is a garden in Umbria that was the place. Let me see if I have, well, the place is, it was a monastery, former monastery that founded by Francisco de Assis, which he is my favorite saint because he's the animal saint and I love animals. And eventually in 1956, Tommaso Busi, which is a very important Italian architect, bought it. And he inspired in this book, it's called Polyphilos. This is a very old version of this book that was published in 1499, attributed to Francesco Colonia. And it's all about a dream. It's about a dream, and it's a story where this the principal character, Polyphilo, travels through this fantastic landscape, garden, temples, ruins, looking for his beloved Polia, no? who's his love, which eventually it ends up that is to love of yourself, that is your inner female part, that we are already a whole, but you have to get into this world. So he was very much, and this book influenced many of these Renaissance gardens. They took this idea. This book has a lot of pictures of ruins and on all this is description. There's a lot of architecture in the garden. It's a bit like Ulysses, no? That all his trip, all the stories, the little stories. So there's a lot of stories going in this journey. And Tommaso Buzzi tried to recreate his own dream in this journey, in this quest to find himself. And so he did this amazing, incredible place, which is La Scarzuola. After Francesco Buzzi died, his nephew, Marco Solari, took over and continue his work. And everything has been done like without plans. No, it were drawings and things were being built in steps. And there's a lot of alchemy, astrology, numerology, sacred geometry. There's a lot of hidden messages and symbolism. And it fascinates me because it changed the way that I saw gardens, in a way that a garden can be a storytelling also. No, there are many things that you can tell in a story and in a garden. It's not just what you see, what you look at, but there are also these hidden things that are part of this garden. I remember in one of our trips, no, when we went to see Pete Audolf, and he was showing pictures and plans of the Highline. He said that he thought of the Highland as a storytelling, like you were in the woods and then you go out and then come the prairies and then the lawn, and like a storytelling. And I thought that all of this idea of storytelling is something that makes a garden much more interesting. Well, these are some of this trip, this journey. I awoke within the wilderness of shadows, and the air shimmered with omens. And there's this boat in this. It is incredible. The place is incredible. And there's a lot of music. Sleep, not flesh in, but in meaning. It's all like a very internal seeking of yourself, no? A fountain that play music known only to the heart. This is all like a piano, so the music goes by, but it doesn't go, and it's like a piano. There's a lot of symbolism, and eventually, it ends. There's a lot of. It's a very crazy, fantastic place. I climb a spiral, not of steps, but of thoughts, each higher than the last. No, it makes you to think, to look into yourself. The waters had fled, but their memories still sang in the basin. I love these quotes of this Polyphilus book. These are all the symbols, alchemy. There's so many. I've been already to Las Carsola like 3 or 4 times because my husband is a very close friend to Marco. And each time you go, there's a new story. You can go through the garden again, and there's so many hidden stories that is never the same one visit to the other. And this is the finding of the woman, the female part that we all have. We all have a male and a female part. And then you end through this, when you go into this this mouth, and the journey ends. And it says, I entered through the devoured and was not consumed. Then I woke, but not from sleep. I awoke from forgetting. So, well, that is Las Carsola, which I think that if I were in a desert island, it would be a fantastic daydreaming thing to do, to dream, to think about oneself also. No, I think that as a landscape designer, we have to really think who we are as designers. As the first thing that I read about Jose, how she really knows who she wants to be as a designer, what she wants to connect to, what she wants to share. And I think that is a journey that we all have to do, and find ourselves, who we want to be. And the beauty is that you could be whoever you want to be. You can invent yourself as a designer. You can create yourself and become who you are, you want. No, so, and that is a great opportunity in life. So then, the other design the garden that I chose was La Pasionaria, which was my home when I moved to Uruguay. I no longer have her, but it was where I took my first steps. It was a very special place for me and for my career, because it really shaped who I became. My first steps as a plant hunter. I already was working as designer, but I became, without knowing, a plant hunter. And it takes two to tango, because I didn't do it on my own. It was a journey who very much did with me, Noel. We traveled like for 10 years. We traveled together looking for answers for many of my questions, and visiting gardens and very important people in their fields, well, like Neil Diebold, that for me was very important in this process, Pete Audolph, of course, and Cassian Smith. We can never forget Cassian. That offered me an approach. Well, Sheffield, no? James Hitmo, Nigel Dunnett, they all shaped the way that I did my research. So from here, that there was nothing, or there was a lot, but everything, these were 5 hectares completely grazed by cattle, I don't know, for hundreds of years. So the first thing I did was to close the garden and took the cows away. And eventually, the prairies begin to express. This is the only thing that I planted mostly in the farm. We were 600 pampa grasses, which is here where you come from here and you go through the pampa grasses. And then I more work like I kind of did what Jose did. allow the expression of the prairies. This is the pampa grasses, which is amazing. The different kind of inflorescences that they have. There's a lot of work for nurseries to be done here and have cultivars. And you see this one is completely different from this one. It is more electric, and this is fluffy, and this is more, I don't know, crazy. And this is weeping and pinkish. So there's a lot of variety. You never get tired of looking at the different specimens. So this is the huge pampa grass prairie. And I made this huge lake because it was like very steep. So I just made a dam and collected the water, the rainwater, the runoff water. And try also to make this balance between controlled, and which I saw very much with you in the Netherlands. There were a lot of gardens that were very large, but also with some hedges and things that help you organize what you see and have a little sense of control and order, which I think is important for the legibility of a garden. The wetland developed, which was fantastic with the syringiums. This is Syringium eburneum. There's a fantastic wildlife that began developing there. Pontederias over there. And then the prairies. This is a meadow that we cut through the summer and allow all the winter growing grasses and flowers to express in spring, and then we cut them back. This is back. Then with my kids that are little, they are already finishing university and school. The prairies with these little plants, and well, these are very small lupins and Piptocetium confusum, Poa lanuginosa. These are the petunias, Petunia axillaris, which are native to Uruguay, and they became famous in the world. These are Solanum. This is an annual Solanum, Sicimbrifolium. And it was the meadow became an area, a very cozy area where to spend time. This Sorghastrum pellitum, which is a fantastic grass, began to express. It's amazing, the color. You can find them from very light brown to this bright red. And well, the prairies began to express and have different, I began doing this herbarium, eventually understand about ecological succession and prairie management. And well, these are Chromolaena hirsuta, all these different, it took me like 4 to 6 years to understand how it worked, to know each of its characters. The dynamics. There was a winter growing cycle and a summer growing cycle. La Pasionaria was where I did all my research. And eventually it went out of La Pasionaria, and I began doing research and plant hunting, all of the plants from the coast into 3 kilometers inland, because I was shocked with the beautiful flowers that I found there, and they were not in nurseries, and I was working for clients that were very close to the sea and needed to have these plants that will survive this weather. And well, without really realizing it, I began to introduce all these plants into landscape design. This is another area which is much more sandy, so it changed the plants, how they express according to the soil, to the existing soil. Noticastrum, Pterocaulum. And this is La Pasionaria after managing all the prairies and the meadow. This is the meadow that is cut in summer, and this is the prairie that is cut in winter, once in winter. And these are all these Baccaris that are allowed to express. And these are the first trial in beds I did in La Pasionaria with the Campuloclinium, with Baccharis trimera, the petunias, the Chrysolaena flexuosas, Pterocaulon balanzae, Campuloclinium, Bepluchea sagittalis, all plants that now, if you go to nurseries, you can buy them. They are there for you. This is an autumn, Pluchea and Pterocaulon, with all the seed heads, which are fantastic. There are some birds that use this kind of the seed for making nests. And this is Eryngium elegans, which I love, which I think it's a fantastic eryngium. It should be very much known everywhere. I think that is much more beautiful than the Eryngium juxifolium that is used in the States. It's a beautiful plant. And well, all the water plants. And I want to show you a garden that I mean, after all this research and what I learned, I want to show you a garden where I put this into practice now. So this is a garden, it's a white garden. The client wanted it to be all white. And it's very much all grassland. It's actually situated in a very low land, so it's very wet in a way. It's like a wetland. So all the plants from these are the rhingiums, among other grasses. And this reinterpretation of these prairies. This is the sorghastrum that you saw before with the rhingiums, and with other exotic plants, of course. This is the butia, our national palm tree in Uruguay. And this is all the different spaces that were surrounded by these prairies. And this is the timbo, another Uruguayan tree. Another angle. And in winter, it also has very nice different hues of brown, different tones. This is all the ponds, the built ponds. And this is a video with a soundscape. Because for me, that is the storytelling I do in the gardens I create is all the hidden things that you don't see directly. No, it's the soundscape, is conservation, is water management, the support for fauna, all the ecosystemic services that provide this kind of plants. So it's a little bit everything that adds, no, and what the different gardens bring. So well, these were my three gardens, the three I chose that I would be fantasizing about in my desert island that were very much important for me as a landscape designer.
And what would your book of choice be?
My book of choice, I was going to choose another one, but then I said it's probably a book that everybody has. So I choose one that nobody has. Let me, no, where is it? No, wait, I had it here. Here. Chuchuku, where is now? Wait. Sorry about this. No, not sure. Where is this? No, screens. Here.
Oh, it's,
This is the book I would like to have with me if I'm in a desert island,
yes,
and
yes,
to remember all these 10 wonderful years that we
yes,
shared.
yes, yes. No, it was a wonderful.
Going, no, I can show it about, because it's
Yes,
important where we've been, the places that are key,
yes, yes.
like, well, Sixtungarden, Weinstefan. Weinstefan is such an important place for research, for landscape design, all these combinations, all these, the models of, so it's these books are amazing. I have everything that will remind me of all these places that we've been. Hermanshof. I called my daughter Cassiana. This is like an inner joke. I know, like for Cassian, I'm this crazy groupie that calls
Mm,
her. I was very much pregnant when I went to Hermanshof. And well, it was mind blowing because I had studied ecology. And actually, I never thought that, no, well, oh, no, 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 no. I never thought that I could mix what I study in ecology with planting design. And
mm.
that was exactly what Hermanshof and Kassian was doing in Hermanshof. I'm sorry, I go back to the beginning here. So it was mind blowing, and I realized that all that I had studied in biology, I could put it into landscape design. So it was now connecting the dots. So I was there very young and pregnant with Bettina and Cassian. And then, well, we go through these ones, but then is Umelo, Pete Audol's garden. So this book has everything that you have to have in a desert island if you want to
Yes, yes,
really think about gardens and get inspiration. Neil Diebol,
yes,
he was
yes.
key for me about breaking dormancy. I mean, I can't have enough. Joe, always with her laugh and happiness.
Mm.
Chicago, well, the Ludigard one, oh, please, what's his name? I can't, where he is. Chicago. Roy Diblick. Roy
Right.
Diblick.
Yes,
Key,
yes,
another
yes,
key person.
yes.
We're plant hunting here, actually, in a way, looking at plants. I learned how to look at wild communities.
Mm, mm,
So
mm.
it's really a fantastic book showing all how I learned and where and from who I learned. I was very
Yes, yes.
lucky that you took me, and I learned from all these people. And again, well, it goes on and on. We went to fantastic places. Oh, lovely Robert. And this project, Marcus de la Fleur, One Drop at a Time,
Mm, mm,
all
mm.
about water runoff management.
Yes,
Really,
yes,
at that moment, it was very early in time. It was like, I don't know, 15 years ago. And
yes, yes,
management of water wasn't a subject that people was talking about. So it was really, for me, very important. And it was a wonderful project because it was it was not expensive. They were very easy ways of managing water in a
yeah,
very small scale.
yes, yes.
And it was really very enlightening for me. So
Mm, mm,
all
mm.
those, that would be the book I would be going through again and again.
Yeah, yes, it's amazing. A book of memories, and you very generously gave us that, and indeed another one, which compilation
Yes,
of
there's a
your
second
photos.
one, but that was for a second
No,
island.
they're wonderful, wonderful records of some, very, very interesting times. I mean, going around with a serious group of participants who, several of whom were making quite significant gardens or working as designers. No, they were really special trips, weren't they?
Yes, yes. It
Um,
was a fantastic group.
and your tool.
My tool, another, nobody probably said this one, but it would be paper envelopes because I would be collecting seeds.
Ah, okay, right. Yes, yes.
So I really need all of these paper envelopes if I'm in an island because
Yeah,
I have to do something with my time. And I
right.
would be patiently waiting for the exact moment of the seed that mature, and I would put them in my
Yes. Which you're hoping will happen before you get rescued, and would be rather
exactly. But
disastrous to
if
be
not, I
rescued.
have the chance to wait for the perfect moment, which is
Yes, yes. Mm,
something very difficult. We have to be patient and go to the place again.
mm,
So
mm.
that's my my tool.
Your
I'm
dream,
sure
yes.
that nobody had that book nor
No,
that tool.
no. So looking over, you've had this very interesting career, and of course, you're teaching, which is so important. I mean, how much influence do you think you've had in your region? I mean, not just Uruguay where you're teaching, but the wider region. I mean, Argentina, Brazil. I mean, are more people beginning to get turned on to the beauties of their wild flora in gardens and design landscapes?
Yes, I think that I have contributed. Of course, I'm one of many others that are
Yeah.
doing the same, and I was lucky to begin knowing others. So we have this group, a WhatsApp group.
Mm.
We are all connected with Cristóbal Elgueta, and La Maca, Fernanda Rionda, Valeria Armida, well, Mariana Siqueira from Brazil,
Yes, yes,
and from Mexico, Gali, Garcia
yeah, yeah,
Alvarado.
yes.
His artistic name is Cruz Gali. And we are all sharing a lot of our research on what we can do. And I decided to teach because I wanted to to have more colleagues with whom
Mm.
I could share. No,
Yes,
I
yes.
was really lonely in that approach,
Mm.
and it's interesting because all of these people are making their own things, and I am learning from their work now
Yes,
in
yes,
many
yes.
cases. So I think that it's important sharing. I have the
Yes.
opportunity to do it at a university. Others do workshops, others write books. But I think that, and I find that the landscape designers community is very generous. It's
It is, yes.
particularly, I think that it doesn't happen in other professions.
Mm,
It's
mm,
particularly generous. I was all this traveling we did together. Your time, you spent time and time reading my things and advising me, and there's a lot of people taking the time to share
mm, mm.
and in exchange of nothing, and that is very, very rare. It's not common, it's very uncommon.
Yes, I agree with you. I think that's one of the things I've always really liked about the garden and landscape community. It is a very generous one. People behave well, um, and they're generous with time, with plants, and there's really so much less of the kind of rivalry and backbiting and sniping that you find in certain other worlds. And it's it's obviously a reflection, I suppose, of what we're doing, the material we're dealing with, and in terms of when we're designing gardens or making landscapes, we're doing an act that is somehow in fact inherently generous, because it's very rare you're making a garden entirely for yourself. You're making it for family, for friends,
Yeah.
visitors, or on a public scale. It's a very democratic activity because it's something that then is there for the entire community. So yes, I agree with you. Yes.
Hmm.
Well, thank you very much, Amalia. It's been really nice seeing that selection of gardens. I didn't quite know what to expect, and no, they're three very, very different gardens. And lovely to see those pictures again of La Pasionaria. And I was very regard myself as very lucky to have been there with you when we were, which was quite a few years ago now. But to have seen it, see this very, very special place, and well, wishing you all the best with the rest of the continued teaching career. And you're going to be spending more time in Europe now, aren't you?
Yes, the idea now that Cassiana is finishing school and begins university, the idea is to be spending from May to August in Italy.
Yes.
And I have begun working in Menorca and
Yeah.
doing something in yes,
Yes.
Sardinia as well. So I'm with Alejandro, with Ale O'Neill. We
Yes.
teach
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
and he is helping me in Menorca.
Yeah.
Knows a lot of. He's an expert of the Mediterranean, and we are trying all this system of planting with gravel, and well,
Yeah.
he's very good at that, and I am following him
Yes.
with
Yes.
research and trial gardens that we are trying for this big project in Menorca. So it's very exciting.
Wow.
And well, eventually will be the first of many others. So
Well, it'd be
I'm
fantastic to have you
my
working.
first step in this area.
Yeah. Be great to have you working over in Europe. And perhaps here that we should
Absolutely.
just flag up, in fact, our sister organization, Academia de Paisaje, which has been running for probably getting on for 3 years now, run by Ignacio Ribeira. It was based in Madrid, but it's a wonderful portal for garden and landscape education for the whole Spanish-speaking world. And
It really
we're
is.
terribly proud of the success of Academia de Paisaje. Some fantastic material Ignacio is producing. And
Actually, yesterday, 3 former students of ours
yes,
were giving a talk in
yes,
Academia del Paisaje. So I was very happy to see them there shining.
yes, great, good. Yeah, well, we'll look forward to seeing you again, and best of luck with all your endeavors.
Thank you.
Thank you
Hope
so
to
much
see
for
you
your time this
soon.
evening. Bye.
Bye bye.